How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I'm just going to shout to a friend of mine to control my dogs. Mara, I'm on live Facebook, so make sure the dogs don't bark.
Okay, we are live.
I'm on live. Make sure the dogs don't bark. Okay.
Wonderful.
Hello, who let the dogs out?
Sure, PJ, what an honor to be sitting here with you. What a time for us to be living in. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. I mean, for me, it's incredible how the universe works, because with that, I mean, I'm staying now with 1.2 million people now are connected, and we wouldn't have been prior to this group. So thank you. You know how I feel about this. I don't have to tell you.
It's been an amazing time for us, PJ. I mean, just I think the timing, like you said, was just fantastic, and thank goodness we've got this platform for us all to be able to sit here and congregate and come together. For this amazing experience. I mean, we really are blessed.
Well, we really are. We are. We're incredibly blessed. What I know about connectivity and what I know about technology is very dangerous. I think I'm going to be fluent, if for use of a better word, by the time this is over. I just always do feel for the people that aren't as blessed as us to be able to. I mean, you're sitting in Cape Town. I'm sitting up here, and it's as if we're in each other's living rooms. So
that's right.
Yeah, it's a fantastic thing.
Yeah, listen.
But it's also okay to not feel blessed. Yesterday, I didn't feel blessed.
Shame. Yeah, it's tough. I think we just had a wonderful show with Mickey Ruttman, and I think what we're going through here is a real challenge of the mind. We're constantly battling our state of mind and our emotions, and it's a very uncertain time for all of us.
It's a very, very uncertain time, and I mean, I've tried to think of things that are not copy and paste. There is so much stuff that's being fed to us that sometimes it gets a little repetitive. And the thing that I came up with for all of us is, over this time, it would be a good exercise to try and make fear homeless.
Yes.
Each and every one of us seems to we ourselves house fearless, and this is an exercise that we can all do, is to not allow fear to take a hold of us. And the only thing that should be homeless and on the streets right now is fear. And I think that if we stop harboring fear within ourselves, we're going to come out of this incredibly strong, with new neuropaths burnt in our brains of how to communicate, a different way of communicating, and with a lot more compassion, discipline, patience. I certainly know I'm employing things that I never knew that I possessed.
That's right. We in the face of adversity, I think we always grow. I think there's always something that we either fall down where we are, or we learn to adapt and we learn to grow with the challenges that we face. And I think the one thing that this pandemic has definitely done for us is bring us closer together. Even though we're at a distance and we're all far apart from each other, we actually are closer together because we unified in so many things now, so many approaches. I've seen political parties coming together. We've seen the private sector coming together. We've seen South Africans just rallying together for this time. So there's this real gift, there's this real sense of togetherness that's come out of this really tragic situation.
Well, I absolutely agree with you that, when I wrote my book, the line that I used was that adversity had defined me, because I really don't believe that anybody who sails through life with an absolutely easy life, with no challenges, financial, emotional, whatever, they don't have much to say. I don't know whether you've ever come across those people that have kind of had it easy, so to speak. I haven't come across many of them, but I know they're out there, and it's quite an empty vessel, if you know what I mean. And yet I meet people that have had enormous challenges, people that have walked to South Africa from Rwanda, people that have overcome huge adversities, and they're full of wisdom and patience and love and compassion and kindness. And you get those qualities, which are so imperative for us as human beings to operate and to be able to reach out to one another. The only way that we know about kindness is because we've experienced somebody being unkind. The only way we experience joy, which is my big word at the moment, is joy, is the courage to find your joy, is it's when we've been sad. Because if everything was just all on this sort of, we'd all had front lobe lobotomies, and we all lived on this level. And Africa, of course, throws these huge highs and huge lows at us. So we, I think, more than any other continent on the planet, we experience that extreme joy. And, the flip side of that is extreme challenge and sadness.
That's right. So, in your view, PJ, tell us. I mean, how do you think South Africans are managing with this? And I mean, where's your heart and your mind at the moment during this time?
I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm, I think that if anyone said that they were having fun, they need to see someone seriously. They need to get to a doctor. If anyone says that, oh no, they're cool, they're having a good time, then there is something fundamentally wrong with you. I vacillate between being irritated when I see people not listening to the president, and at the same time, realizing that when people say, stay at home, home sometimes is one room. And that's hard. And sometimes it's one room, not just to yourself. It's one room with one shared room. So where my head's at the moment is trying to keep a constant level head, basically, and call myself when I'm judgmental in my head, and call myself on being judgmental of how other people are reacting to this virus. We are all so different. It's so important for us to realize that everyone has a different take. I think that our president has been remarkable. I think that the government is giving a strong message. I ventured out very briefly for the first time today, albeit with a mask and gloves, and I did the right thing. It was very empty. I find that people are, I think we're still going through a week of I think people are still very scared. And it's almost as if you smile at someone, you'll catch something. I said to somebody, can you see that I'm smiling at you through behind my mask? And the guy said, one of the attendants at one of the stores, and he said, yes, I can see your eyes smiling.
Yes.
So I think, that's what's incredibly important. My take is that we're so far so good, but we're on day 4. We're babies. But I do believe that we're doing what's necessary, and I think the stringentness of the measures it's not exaggerated at all. Not when I see what's happening in Spain and in Italy and in other parts of the world.
I agree with you. I mean, I was looking at flight patterns now. Excuse me, just give me a second. I was looking at flight patterns, live flight patterns across the globe. South Africa is almost, pretty much shut down the flight paths. No one's flying over. Nobody's flying in or out. And the rest of the world, there are thousands of planes still in the sky. It's absolutely insane.
Are there?
Yes, it was quite interesting. It was quite interesting to see, and we're looking at a situation now where America's contamination rate is growing dramatically. The rest of the world are growing dramatically. I'm very proud of Ramaphosa, President Ramaphosa, for what he's done. I think they've put in good measures. I just hope that the country, in totality, takes the message very seriously. I've seen some stuff where people don't seem to be heeding the warning, and I really pray that they do. I pray that everybody just takes this very seriously and works together so that we can resolve this issue. We don't want to be stuck in lockdown for the next 6 months like England.
Jared, I think that what you've just said prior to this is out of adversity, and unfortunately, perhaps people will start taking it seriously. Unfortunately, when we lose more people, at the moment we have, I think I just saw, I stand to be corrected because there's so much info, but our second fatality, which when you look at it on the big scale of things, it's hard to sort of comprehend the enormity of this pandemic when you think two people, you know, out of however many million we are. But unfortunately, I think that we're going to lose a lot of people, and it's going to take that to make people really, really take it seriously.
Sure. So, PJ, I mean, you've blessed us with one or two of your new upcoming songs, which we're very grateful for, and we're playing later on today. How much of that is being influenced by where we are right now? Is our current situation currently influencing your music and what you're doing?
Oh yeah, I think that everything is. I'm trying hard to sometimes pull myself away from it, but it is influencing everything. It's influencing everything that I do. It's influencing how I look at everything, without a doubt. I'm sure that is the newness of this lockdown, and I'm sure that some other stuff will come out. But at the moment, most of what I'm writing and seeing as you, Jarrett, and I'm staying, have coerced me into playing the guitar in public for the first time in my life. I normally only play the guitar, and you'll hear why, people. I normally only play the guitar when I write my songs, but this very influential man, and he's a smooth talker, and between him and Jonita, they've coerced me into sitting with my guitar and playing a song that I think that we should take heed at. And let's not look too far forward. Let's deal with today, and let's deal with tomorrow's challenges tomorrow. And I'm sure it'll come with new challenges. There may be more stringent measures. And there's a wonderful saying in Zulu, which is "uhamba kahle," which is go carefully and go slowly. And yeah, that's pretty much what this is about. It's about taking one day at a time.
Absolutely. Now, PJ, you came onto our platform some time ago, and I mean, you've just given us so much great support, and we just love having you. You know, we love having you, and the country just loves you so much. What is it about the hashtag I'm Staying that really resonated with you, and why do you see it as being something of value to the country?
Because I think that I'm Staying came along at a time where there was no good news platforms, and I got really annoyed when some friends of mine and people sort of were glib about I'm Staying, saying, "Oh, it's a whole lot of whites getting together trying to make each other feel better." Then they couldn't say that anymore because they saw that they looked at the dynamics of the group, and people were a bit glib about it. And I said, what is it in people's nature? And what is it that makes you so afraid of a group that is growing to the size of bigger than a political party? Why are you so scared of so much good news? You know, that's how I challenge people in my shows when I mention I'm Staying. And that's what I loved about I'm Staying. And that's where I was an early adapter, because I thought there are so many platforms. The press in this country are so responsible for molding the psyche of our nation into one that we're a bunch of hooligans that do no good. We're not. And that's what made me fall in love with I'm Staying, because that's what I'm Staying did. I'm Staying showed us how good we are. It held up the mirror and said, "You're not all bad. You're fabulous people."
That's right. You know, I think you just hit I've got gooseflesh now, because that was it. You know, for us there was, and I don't think the media is to blame. The media just runs on what the media knows. And I think when we came up and we had this huge explosion on the scene, we saw the media just picking up, and a lot of them are doing it now. You know, they've actually got these good news sections to what they're doing, and I think they're starting to see the value in it. And also, they were so supportive of us. I mean, they gave us so much exposure and so much airtime, and we're very grateful for that. But there was definitely this narrative, and it was a narrative driven by fear and driven by uncertainty and driven by politics. And I think that was it for us, when hashtag I'm Staying really started to get momentum, it just cut through all of that stuff. And it wasn't like we, the organizers of hashtag I'm Staying, did that. It was actually the population of the country that decided to come on board and jump onto this platform that actually reshaped that narrative just to show South Africa how many people actually care. How many people are filled with love and are filled with hope and are filled with ambition and kindness and caring for their neighbor. And I think that was for me, it just was so glorious. And to have you supporting us means so much. And to have you mentioning us in your shows, PJ, I mean, cheapers, I could never repay you. I think on behalf of.
No, I'm busy writing. I'm Staying the musical. Don't worry. Yeah, you have my support, and it's, as I say, you gave good news a home, and it's been quite a homeless commodity in our country in the press that we do have. And I don't like to use the word blame because it's for me it belongs in high school. But people have to be responsible for what people think, and when you have the responsibility of the nation's psyche at the end of your pen or in the end at your fingertips on a computer. I would like to have seen perhaps, but you know what? We're not going there. What we are going is where we are going is that you've leveled the playing fields.
That's right.
And there's as much good stuff out there as there is, because there is bad stuff happening. I mean, prior to this pandemic, there's been we've been through a hectic time. We've been through, with the corruption, with everything. We've been through a hectic time, but that's not all we are. We're a whole lot more than just that.
Yes. So, I mean, that's interesting, PJ, because, I mean, you would have seen us go through some amazing transformation in this country. I mean, from the corruption that we've gone through now to all the political turmoil we've had now to the changeover of the government. I mean, this just must have been just something for you to behold. And now we're sitting in this new situation. Don't you find that South Africans are just so resilient? I mean, we are so resilient as a nation.
I will say this, and on record, I think that we are the most resilient nation on the planet. I made a speech a couple of 2 years ago at the Old Mutual Building in London, and there was a journalist from the New York Times who was present, and he turned around and said that that is somebody's phone ringing. Let me just quickly throw something at someone. And there was a journalist from the New York Times, and he stood up and after I'd spoken, and he said that he'd been here when Nelson Mandela went, at our independence, and he said how it was nirvana for the press to be here over that time. And I love the way he said, South Africans don't ever write them off. They always punch above their weight. And this coming from a New York Times journalist, I thought, I like you. You're my kind of chap.
Fantastic. And it's so true, and PJ, the one thing that really stirs up my emotions is the fact that we're also an incredibly forgiving nation, because our people have been through some terrible stuff. We really have been through some horrible circumstances, and still we find room in our hearts to forgive. And still we find room in our hearts to want to work together to make it a better place. And there's so many people that are like that. And I'm just so grateful for the fact that we've got this opportunity now to be able to talk to so many South Africans from all walks of life. Because, I mean, to go through these challenges the way that we have, and to find forgiveness and love in your heart is just a remarkable human quality. I think the world has got to look at us and say, how do these people do it? How do they do this? It's just a remarkable.
Well, we're bulletproof. I promise you we are. I mean, seriously, I was given the name Thandeka in 1983. So don't go now trying to figure out how old I am. I'm old. But we've established that. We know this now, but don't worry about it. But and I've been around for a long time. But the truth is I have seen South Africa go through, I don't know how many tunnels of absolute darkness. In the song that you're going to play, One Day at a Time, I say, in the darkness, there's a firefly. I can finally see. And we've been through so many dark tunnels. And this is yet another one. And we will emerge.
We will emerge.
We will emerge. We've emerged. We are emerging from Zuma. Yep. We will emerge. Indeed. And I just want to say, a lot of some people on my Facebook said they're disappointed at the way people in townships are reacting to this and that and the next thing. And I think this is now more than anything a time to walk in other people's shoes or try to walk in other people's shoes.
Yeah.
You know, we really have to. Not all of us have it this lucky. Not all of us have television, internet, gardens, swimming pools, God alone knows what.
Yeah.
I've seen some people, I think to myself, is that lockdown? But, you know, not all of us are that lucky. So patience, guys, patience and compassion.
Absolutely. You know, it's very difficult to see, and I think that's another thing that was exposed from this platform was it's very easy to sit in your lap of comfort, your luxury, even if you're not living in your lap. It's not a lap of luxury, but you know, if you're living in a one-bedroom apartment, that is much more than a lot of people in our country have. If you've got a steady meal, that is a lot more than a lot of people have in South Africa. If you've got school shoes, if you've got a way to get to work, if you've got a job, that's a lot more than a lot of our people have in South Africa. So we really need to just sort of take a step back and say, you know, why am I constantly wanting to point fingers? Why am I constantly pointing the finger of blame? And try to put ourselves in other people's shoes. I love that message of yours. It's 100% correct, PJ. You know, we just need to find a little bit of compassion and understanding. You know, and adapt. We got to learn to adapt to one another and work together. That's the bottom line.
You know, my dad used to say something that was incredibly clever. I thought he said, "Just remember, when you point a finger, 3 are pointing at you."
Yeah.
And that pretty much says it all. But I think as a nation, just back to South Africa, we're doing incredibly well. I look at India, 1.3 billion people all trying to make it, onto buses to get to their homes through Delhi. And I mean, what I've just witnessed now, and we're going to be okay. We're okay. We are okay. We're a more than okay nation of people.
Absolutely. So, okay, I've kept you for very long. So on your parting message for hashtag I'm staying and for the country, PJ.
My hashtag is careful. Hashtag careful, not fearful.
Yes, beautiful. That's beautiful.
Let's make fear homeless. Hashtag make fear homeless.
I love that.
Because hashtag make fear homeless. Hashtag I'm staying.
I love that. PJ, thank you so much for giving us your time. It's really been amazing to speak to you, and you know we'll be pushing your song over our airwaves. It really means a lot, and thank you again for all your support. You know, and
any musician out there that's listening to this, don't dare tell me my guitar is out of tune. I know. Okay, then. Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay, Jared. Cheers, man.
Okay, PJ. Take care.